YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We got the night Radian here, 2 meter. It's awesome. Re-released by Horizon Hobby, e-flite in this case. Look at those sweet lights. Now these lights are about the lamest ones you can do. We went through the trouble of cutting out the plastic right there and there and there, and that one didn't have one. So don't do that one. And then we did on the black invasion stripes. Makes a huge difference. By the way, this light doesn't look very bright. Wait till it's dark. It's incredible. It will lighten up this whole bowl. And we flew along the tops of the tree lines. It is so cool. But of course, you can't film it because there's not enough exposure to see it. But our kids were all sitting out here like it was the 4th of July. It was so cool. Okay, throttle cuts off. Safe is off. This is safe equipped. We're gonna fly it today, 2200 3S Gen 1, so you have the balance plug. That's incidentally how you hook up your lights. We wanted to show you a day flight just to show you how cool this thing is. It flies really good. We are gonna try to give you some night flight footage. You'll notice that, did you feel that breeze when it went by? That was pretty cool. This plane is a great flying plane. Real easy going. They call it a level 2. I think a level 2 is probably appropriate for this plane. We'll bring it over here. There is some wind going on. I don't know if you guys can see the windsock, but just to give you an idea, look at that. That's definitely wind. Beautiful sunset. We've had many beautiful sunsets in the recent history here. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Hopefully that hasn't totally lost your exposure there, camera crew.
That's all right.
Okay. You see the birds?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 3-channel plane, folks. So that means you've got a rudder and an elevator and a throttle, and that's it. Now there is safe. Here's safe. I have safe on, not even looking at the plane. Okay, I've mixed in my rudder control to do the same thing that the ailerons do, okay? So I can control with either one. I have 50% output tied to the rudder just because it makes it easier for me. And you'll notice that I have a nice clean line that goes all the way out to the wingtip. If those black lines aren't cut out, you won't see that line all the way down the wing. And it is quite distracting when you're flying at night. I love the way that this thing has performed. That's in safe. We're out of safe now. Very good limited bank angles. Very easy going for flight. It flies almost like it's a 4-channel, but it's not. There is a little bit of a lag, just like you would expect on any 3-channel. Yes, we are watering the lawn while we film, because that's the way we do it at Brian Phillips RC. If you guys didn't realize this already, we jokingly refer to the camera crew as the camera crew because it's just us. There's nobody else. It would be cool, but it's just us. So the other day we were flying from the back. So this is the opening we were flying through. What were we flying? You see the turbulence there?
The Optera.
The Optera, that's right. We were flying through this opening and we had a beautiful sunset. It was a little hotter that night, but you see that turbulence there? Isn't that crazy? My goodness, I didn't think it was that turbulent, but it is. And it's for that reason that the camera crew is not flying right now, mostly because she gets concerned and nervous and she doesn't want to crash, but then she freaks out. Otherwise, I would put her to the sticks right now just to show you how easy this is to fly. I'm gonna just warn you, planes that appear to fly easy by inexperienced pilot sometimes aren't quite as easy as they appear. So we never really mean to, be misleading in any way on this channel. We try to be totally forthright about as much as we can. Every once in a while, we have an omission that we don't really mean. In this case, I was talking about how easy the Ultra Micro was the other day. And to be perfectly frank, it flies a lot like this plane. I mean, it feels almost exactly the same. And the camera crew had some difficulty. And your wonderful replacement camera crew completely missed the crash. So I apologize if you guys haven't seen it yet. you'll see it soon. This plane is really fun, super relaxing. You can expect conservatively 25, 30 minutes of good flight time. And if you're more, you know, resistant to getting into the throttle, of course we're trying to film, so we want to bring it real close, then you could get longer. And just showing you, you can fly in a little bit of wind, but it's always, with a sailplane that's a 3-channel like this, I really like flying them with no wind or getting into a slope and then trying to slope soar. The climb out's okay. It's not unlimited, obviously. This is the way I usually climb if I'm trying to climb, is I will go into a circle. You'll notice that was a pretty sloppy circle. That's because when you get up into those drafts, you can't always counter the roll effect. You have to kind of just roll with your punches on a 3-channel. You see that barn swallow? Mm-hmm. He's trying to get me. That's so cool. So anyway, I'm just gonna go up there and just show you why I don't do thermal videos right now. So I know that you guys are watching for the plane, but look at this beautiful sunset. We're just gonna look at the sunset while Safe is on. We're just gonna look how beautiful the sunset is. And then a few minutes later, when we decide that we're interested in the plane again, whoops, we are gonna go back to it. Where is the plane? Oh, there it is.
It's about where you left it.
Yeah, about where I left it. Oh, well, I want to play with that again, so let's get it out. Okay, come on back. Come on home. So as you can see, I turned it toward myself, and we came out of Safe. And I know some of you guys are thinking, you almost had a flyaway, Brian. No, we didn't. Not even close. If you have a flyaway from that range, you have something broken, by the way. I just pointed it. I haven't even touched the sticks. You guys, I haven't touched it, and it's out of Safe. It's out of Safe. This is AS3X. So it's just resisting the wind once in a while. Oh, look, it decided to change direction, but still, look, it's just doing its thing. So when the camera crew was freaking out earlier with the UMX, the principal problem she had was she was trying to do like I do, which is to fly low so that it's easy to film. And when you're new, you fly high. You get way out there, you can barely see what's going on. And we measure that in mistakes high. So like right now, I would say I'm 2 mistakes to 3 mistakes high. If this was a 4-channel, ooh, we have a manned aircraft. Show the people. A manned aircraft takes precedence, so guess what I get to do? I'm gonna bring it way, way down, and I'm gonna seek shelter. Meaning, I'm gonna get so low because I can't necessarily land immediately, and I'm gonna be so low that I'm below the tree line, okay? If you're in a situation where you can't land immediately, get below the nearest high obstruction and then land. That's what people do that are responsible. Okay, so the plane is way over there, so we're good. When you're in the country and you're away from controlled flight areas, controlled airspaces, then things are a little bit different. And we just have to watch out for usually crop dusters where we are. That guy was really low though, like probably illegally low. He was probably at 2,000 feet. I don't think he should have been that low, but that's fine. I don't really care. I just am gonna get out of the way to be safe. So the reason we wanted to give you a daylight showing of this aircraft is because at night, it really speaks for itself and it's super cool. But some of you may not ever actually use the lights. And that's okay too, because it's still a great flying plane. They were watching out the window. By the way, that maneuver that I like to do so much, where I go up and turn it over on its back like that, very hard on a 3-channel unless you have excessive amounts of rudder authority. And for that reason, at some point, I'm going to probably put the rudder all the way to the inside hole and the elevator all the way to the inside hole, and just throw caution to the wind. Because that's the way I like to be able to over control my sailplanes. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to over control it. You can just not move the stick as far. You can increase your expo a little bit. But the idea is I want to make sure that I can over command that plane to do what it's not designed to do. And the trade-off is that sometimes we have a little bit of overcorrection from AS3X or safe. In this case, wind over our right shoulder there. I don't know if you could feel that. I'm going to be flying into it here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, quite a bit of wind coming up that hill. So I'll be flying with the wind, which means I need to give it a little extra throttle there to maintain control. So folks, when you come to Brian Phillips RC for the latest and greatest fixed wing aircraft experience, we also occasionally like to review a few other interesting things you may have noticed, like farming stuff, or possibly building a new house, or, you know, like a cat tree. Whatever it happens to be that's part of our lives that might help impact our performance on the YouTube channel, whether it's, you know, in similar experiences, you might want to know about it, or just stuff that we're interested in occasionally. And we try to kind of stay away from that, stick to the issues on the channel, but sometimes we get into stuff that's just too good to not. And so we have a little bit of that coming, so we're hoping that you guys won't destroy us in the comments. We have so many loyal audience members that it's usually far outweighed whatever negativity that we get. But at the end of the day, it is technically Brian Phillips RC, but not because Brian Phillips is the focus, just because I needed a name. You guys are really the reason that we have the channel, so we try to keep you happy. And when we say happy, we mean the vast majority of you happy. So every once in a while, there will be a disappointed party, and we try to avoid that. Yes, finally made it through. One thing you'll notice about this Radian is that when you try to get it down, it can actually be a little bit tricky. Also, when you catch, it gets to the point where it stops flying because it will fly so dang slow that it will just like fall. And I mean, that's what a stall is. But I mean, the stall is quite aggressive because it's not a super small plane, really. It's actually kind of a big plane. That was a little bit tight. Did you like that? Was Zane the one that was telling me to fly between the power lines the other day?
Probably.
Yeah, that
I'm sure
irresponsible little boy.
What other person challenges you to do things like that?
Zane.
Yep.
Zane's the guy.
Now that it's getting a little bit, it's not dark, but darker, do you want to change the lights?
Oh, to something
And
more
show
exciting?
'em- yeah.
Okay. Woo! Sorry, I had to get out in front of that. Okay, throttle cuts on. So if you guys haven't seen the night flight video yet, we do have a night flight video. It's just maybe not as good as what we had last night for the kids, just doing it in the dark, because you just can't film it, okay? So there's a button in the middle. These are 3 push buttons, okay? Comes out of this little, that's a brushed ESC with a capacitor on it or something like that. So there's a power switch. You can turn them off altogether. Turn them on. Okay. then you can press this
Show 'em
button.
from under here.
And I have the frequency set very slow. So then you can change the frequency. There's one speed, there's another, there's another, there's another, there's another. And then it slows back down. Eventually, there's slowest. Then you can change back or forth through the different, so I'll speed it up to like midway. And that's actually a really cool one. I'm gonna go about as fast as it'll go. And that one makes it for really good visibility at night. That one is good for like schizophrenic dance party moves. Then you've got different pulsating moves. And then you have two-tone pulsating moves. And you can change the direction that the lights flicker, like they'll flicker here, then they'll flicker out there. And then also on the tops of the wings, you get that same effect, okay? So like on the bottom of the wing is a predominant one. And there really is only a super, super small spot where you kind of disappear. But what happens is you end up picking up really quick. Now, the only problem with where you disappear is when you're flying straight at yourself. So you need to be aware of that and maybe avoid that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back one. Then I'm gonna go fast. Nope, slowed it back down, sorry. It is a little bit challenging to know what color you're on because the changes during the daylight, you see better on the bottom than you do on the top. So let's take back off. Oh, by the way, if we didn't mention it, camera crew, would you mind holding that? We have telemetry from Airwear on this, which is really, really nice, which is like what we have in the UMXs. So you can see your voltage there, or you can go to voltage there, okay? So 11.2 volts. Pack voltage is what I demand on telemetry. That's what I want all the time. Okay, so let's show you just a launch with no throttle. I have my throttle cut off so I can get on it right away. So you guys see that? Just getting into throttle now. Very cool. So like if you were doing slope soaring with this thing, it would do just fine. It would really do just fine.
Yeah, you can see those lights good now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just surprised how much turbulence there still is. I wonder if we're thermaling off of that corn. Probably just getting wind. Because you see how it just kicked up like that? That's just me not doing anything. Oh, and by the way, if there were ever a plane that I would be a little bit tempted to put a 637 TA in, you could have the boop, 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 beep, beep, boop, 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 which is my camera crew's favorite. R2D2 style. You ready? I'm going through the water. Here we go. Ah, I missed it. Too efficient on the wing. Here, let's go over a couple steps so I can try to hit it like toward me, please. Perfect. Good job. Okay, I'm getting in position. I'm gonna try to hit the sprinkler because I know you guys are wanting to see it, and I am too now. Are you good?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Oh, dang it!
Sheesh.
Yeah, she gets going fast, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, so out of it. I'm gonna go around to the, past the eagle killing zone, and we'll probably do a little throttle. By the way, you can tractor your prop if you wanna control the speed. And what I mean by tractoring the prop is you actually run the prop at a low RPM, so you're not picking up speed, but it will help to control your speed. It will actually create a ton of drag. So I'm thinking of a video that one of my competitors did the other day, Mr. Pilot Ryan and Bobby K. And they were doing a video and they flew through one of the big industrial, oh man, I missed it by inches. They were doing a video where they were flying around at their farm runway. And that is a sweet place, by the way. I want to fly there sometime if I'm ever in the area, guys. Oh man, there's the bug zapper made me nervous. I was afraid I was going to take it out with the bug zapper. But anyway, they ended up flying, I'm thinking it was an Eflite plane.
I think so.
Oh man, touch and go. You see that high alpha maneuver? That's a good way to lose your plane, so just be careful the way you do it, if you do it. See that? It almost hammerhead the thing. Not quite. Oh, by the way, if you're in any doubt, if you want to bleed off a lot of energy, just do loops. Loops are a good way to get rid of energy. But I would prefer flat turns because you'll maintain better control and authority over the plane. And just give it a little throttle to slow it down so that it wouldn't porpoise on me there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Finally, I'll get it this time. Yes! Did you hear it?
I did.
Good. So folks, I don't know if you can't, we don't have a pleasure-o-meter like other internet videos. So you'll have to just assume in the relaxed state of a sailplane like this, it is extremely fun and it is very relaxing and enjoyable to fly this plane. Now, the trouble is, how do you show a relaxing experience in a high excitement way? And I guess the answer to that question is to fly through sprinklers. That's about about 50 to 60% throttle there I was just doing. So in case you guys are wondering, if you're thinking, you know what, Brian, we got the point. You know, I kind of agree on this one in terms of a video, but I guarantee you, if you were flying it, you would not be saying that. You'd be like, okay, get me another battery. Because that's pretty much what happened last night. The kids were out here watching and it was just so much fun. And it totally looked like a giant UFO. And you just don't get experiences like that all the time. Unless you have a night Radian, then you do. And I don't know if you guys can tell how slow I'm going, but I'm going slow. I could walk out there and pick it up. I was trying desperately to keep the left wing from going into ground effect while the right wing was not in ground effect, because it would have wanted to pull me down. Which sounds stupid, but it's true. There's one tree that's got a branch that shoots up to the left there. So if you guys are flying this plane like I am, you know, in a mixed group of power lines and sprinklers and hay bales. By the way, if you guys don't know what this pile is over here, let's show the people the pile. Because I'm sure some of you are very confused about what this is. This pile, this giant tarp, you're like, hey, nice property. Why don't you put some garbage out front?
Yeah. That
would be hay under the tarp. I know a lot of you already know what that is. But for those of you that don't, we got to be getting pretty close, guys. My ESC, my smart ESC is showing 10.7. It's going to give me critically low here pretty quick. You see that barn swallow? Wants to fight. Let's fight. Get over here. So I haven't gotten the critically low alarm yet. But my recommendation to you guys, if you're flying this plane and you're just trying to have a grand old time, would be to maybe not hit the critically low alarm. These smart packs are wonderful, but it is kind of hard on them. So if you're gonna land it on pavement, that's the way to do it. Do it as slow as you can. Grass is actually way better. It's a lot easier on it. I've been super happy with this plane. I've flown it like, what, 6 times so far? Yeah, I think 6 times. And everything about it is exactly what I expected. Now, when you look at this thing and you think, well, I don't really fly at night. Okay, that might be one reason why you wouldn't consider this. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the Radian is very fun to fly. It flies very good. For being a 3-channel, I think it's almost like a polyhedral wing, and because of the curved wing tips. And so for that reason, it's not like one of these planes where you're really, really dependent on AS3X all the time. It's just kind of a fun, relatively easy flying plane. But keep in mind, if you don't know how to fly a 3-channel plane, this can actually be a bit of a bear cat. Okay, that's why it's a challenge or experience level 2 and not an experience level 1, like a Sport Cub S or some of the other like fairly easy planes. I think the Habu might actually be easier to fly. I know that sounds totally BS, but you know, to be honest, it's very easy to fly. Safe and AS3X on the Habu are just second to none. They're rock solid. The thing flies slow on 3S, and you know, you can flare it and get it to slow down for landings. You can put it down in grass if you need to. This thing is actually, controllability wise in the air, it's harder, I think, to fly, but it's not hard to fly. It's just the 3-channel is not something I learned on. I learned on 4-channel planes. I like having the roll authority, the instant roll authority that you get from having ailerons. So in the past, when I had a polyhedral wing, I would add spoilers or something like this, and I would do spoilerons where I would actually be able to control the roll rate of the aircraft. But in doing so, you add a lot of weight and complexity to an otherwise simple plane. Case in point, lights. But this plane is super fun. It's really well done. It goes together really easy. The worst part of building it is probably like, how do I put the battery in here? Guys, don't even worry about the strap. Just ram it all the way in. Just shove it in as deep as you can. And she'll be happy. Pretty much, right?
Something like that.
So without further ado, this plane is a definite winner. It may not be for everybody, but I'm going to tell you this. When you see it in the night sky and it's glowing and then like, oh, look, there's a shooting star and there's a shooting star, which we saw 3 of them last night, which is crazy. We never see shooting stars. It makes for a really cool experience. So if you're about experiences, this plane is for you. If you're about high performance EDF jets like the F-16 Fighting Falcon in an 80mm EDF, well then that plane's for you. But that being said, when you're done stressing out about trying to get the pilot fatigue setting right and getting a perfect landing and not rolling out into the next county, this plane is a good way to wind down. And yes, you can wind down after the sun is down. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So definitely good pick. I would highly recommend it. You know what to do. Check the link in the video description below. You can buy one for yourself. You'll be supporting us financially with a small commission from the company that sells this and not from your back pocket, which is super nice. You get your RC points. You can use coupon codes. You'll be set, guys. If you don't want to do that, maybe you're out of the country, you can't ship to your country, whatever it is, you still want to support us with a few bucks here and there, Patreon is an option that's down below. After years, we decided to go ahead and offer it because people kept asking and we said no, 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 no. And then finally we said, whatever. Okay, we'll offer it if people want to do it. And then we have PayPal if you don't like monthly support because Patreon is monthly. So that being said, the Radian is awesome. I would absolutely highly recommend this plane. It is really fun. If you don't have enough room, it comes apart relatively easy. You do have to get inside of here to unplug the cables. So if you do have to store your wings off, get yourself a couple extension cords, have the extension cords taped up at the top or something so it's easier because the cords could be a bit longer. If they were another 4 inches longer, you could basically leave the wire in there and connect it and then fold the wing back onto itself, leaving that wire attached. I've done that with a few of my planes. I had a Phoenix that was similar size. I think it might have been a 2.4 meter from Volantex. And I used to store it with the wings alongside and the wires just came out with extensions, like 14-inch extensions. So that worked really nice. So also I wanted to talk about the prop. I really like the prop design on this plane. I don't know if this is the same size that would go on the Crescendo. I'd be actually quite tempted to try it if it'll fit because I like the design better. I like it's got that locking system where it comes out like that I think it looks cooler, and I also think that it would miss the vent inlets that are here and here on the Crescendo Evo, because I actually broke my prop from it smacking over and over again. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like 100 flights in. It was probably 12 or 13 flights in. Now, I was not being nice to it, so I would attribute part of it to me, part of it to the design feature. But I can tell you this, I like this prop a lot. I just don't know if it'd fit. So Horizon, if you're listening, which I know occasionally you do, just to make sure I didn't say something terrible, I promise I didn't do it this time. I like this design. It's really cool. Horizon, also, if you're listening, please, percentages, please, pretty please. I mean, that pretty drawing of a AA battery is very nice, or AAA battery there. It's nice, but I would like the number. Even if you overlay the number on top of it, it'd be cool. So bar graphs are good, but even better is numbers. So just saying, guys, love this plane, super cool. If it was about 45 minutes later, it'd be dark. We could do another flight. We're not gonna do that. We already have footage. It's okay. We would have liked to show more of the different lighting modules, but to be honest, in pitch dark, it just isn't gonna show up.
Yeah.
So just imagine this flying along. Ooh, the whole driveway turns green, so cool. Ooh, the whole driveway turns yellow and orange and red. And it really does, and it is really cool. So yes, the throttle cuts on. I know some of you are thinking, don't chop your face up, Brian. Trust me, throttle cuts on. So if you get this thing, don't forget to do this mod. We'll show some details about that briefly. And there's also one to cut here. And then there's blue covers this. The black covers part of that. And then that's just the decal overlay. Same here and same here. So it's actually quite simple and goes together real easy. That mod took longer than probably putting the tail on. And yeah, we added another slice of tape. Horizon, seriously, come on. Like bolts, pretty please. I would have really liked to see bolts, because a lot of the guys that have this plane are gonna need to take it apart. So that I was actually quite disappointed in. Other than that, I like it. Now, why do we put tape on the tail, camera crew?
So it doesn't.
Why do we do tape instead of bolts? How about that?
Oh, wait.
It's a CG thing. If you put a few bolts in the back, it's all the way almost at the end of the lever arm. So I know why they're doing it, but really I would have rather had some counterweight involved, or have to pull that battery forward a touch, because to be honest, I can't get this any deeper and it's perfect.
Right.
So if I'm flying with a bigger pack, it's probably gonna be nose heavy. So you know what? A couple of bolts would have been nice. Bolt, nut, pass through, done. Cheap on the hardware side, but you do have to redesign this plastic, so that kind of sucks. Anyway, guys, that is the only thing that I didn't like about this plane. Everything else was great. It doesn't need ailerons, but I still would have liked them. Which is pretty funny, because you totally don't need ailerons. Also, where they put the wing spars in here and the LED strips, left room if you decide to put in flaps or something else. But just keep in mind, the curved wing does move a lot, okay? It goes in and out, and you'll see it, especially at night, you'll see it flatten out almost. So you need to be careful how you decide if you're gonna do that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, because it's really not necessary. If you're gonna do something on this plane for fun, I would do a spoiler. And I'd probably do it as like a flat that just pops up. I would not hollow everything out. Just keep it simple as you can. Cut out for your servo, make a pocket, drop the wire back, and then you can make that lever arm. This is minus 100. This would be plus 100, so you can only use so much of it. So make it go up to like, that would be all you would do. You would just put the lever in there and it would just lift it up. It's very simple. I did that on my Bird of Time that my grandpa built. And that was obviously a monocoque covered balsa build-up plane. But you could do that on this too. It'd be really cool. But I would do them way out here, because then you can actually create a yaw effect, which would be kind of neat too. So, I mean, you have a rudder, so you can already yaw, but you can also create a roll effect with it too, which is neat. Other than that, very, very cool, guys. Definitely consider this. If you're on the fence, I would say get off the fence and buy it. It's a super fun plane, and you'll really enjoy the experience, especially if you got kids or somebody that wants to watch the night flight at night. I mean, the night flight for an individual flying by yourself might get lost a little bit, you know, but if you're flying for an audience, 10.2 volts.
There you go.
So we finally hit our low volts. By the way, if that starts alarming, you can cancel with the cancel key. And I have it set for 30-second status updates. So hypothetically in 30 seconds, it would go off again. Also, your canopy, you can't put it on backward. So be careful when you're putting it on. It will actually stick on there backward, and then it will come off of there backward. And then you will lose it at night. And that is a really nice canopy. Look how thick it is. Show the people. That really nice canopy, that used to be a nice canopy.
It's still a nice canopy.
Yeah, but I like that they tinted it. It looks sweet.
It does look cool.
And it's, you know, this is the type of thing that you get with Horizon. You get a glued magnet that hasn't ripped out yet.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, when I get magnets that are glued into a canopy like that, it would have been gone on the first flight.
Yep.
And I know this from experience. I'm not just saying it to make Horizon look good. Horizon makes himself look good by the way that they design planes, the way that they back them up, the new technology like these smart packs. Look how nice that is. I ran that down to 10.2 volts, 0 puff. Granted, this isn't an EDF jet. I realize that. You want to hold that, camera crew? So anyway, guys, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. We're going to go ahead and continue on to the build or to the night flight, and then you can watch the build at the end. It's probably what we'll do, don't you think?
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We'll have the build next, and then we'll have, or excuse me, we'll have the night flight and then the build at the very end, because it's really none. There's just nothing there. Oh, and then if you scratch up a tip like this, like I did when I ran into the pavement, okay, there's a trick. You use a lighter. You light the lighter, and then you get up here close. You keep it away from the foam. You'll notice that this is all plastic here, which, by the way, I had a couple of stalls where I was going to catch, and it went boom like that, and it fell hard. So I'm really impressed with the fact that it's not broken. I don't normally land that hard with my gliders, and when I do, they usually break in half. Yeah. So that can be fixed with just some heat, but you have to be careful not to get the heat into the foam, okay? And all you do is you just heat that, and you can sometimes miscolor it. So the other option is you heat up a steel piece, like a shim or a butter knife or something like that. And then you can use the butter knife to slather that down, and it will actually smooth it.
And then buy your wife new silverware.
Oh, I just figured you'd use the neighbors. Look at this sunset.
Oh, well, that's fine.
My goodness. It's just absolutely beautiful.
It's so weird. It looks pink.
It's brighter.
Look, it's pink and purple on the camera.
Whoa.
And it's blue and yellow in person.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
That is so weird. Well, put the exposure up there only. There you go. Now it's more like a reality.
A little bit more.
And it's like, it's brighter now than it was 20 minutes ago, I feel.
That's weird.
So, super cool. All right, guys, come back for more on Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got something new and exciting that's been released before. This is the Radian 2.0. So it's 2 meter, and it has awesome lights all over it. There is a nice canopy. It's clear. It's got some magnets. And you can go in here, and there's a little button panel. You can press the buttons and change the condition of the lights, which is really cool. All sorts of different cool things. You can change the frequency by which it changes. And you can change the color combinations or the order by which they turn on, which is really cool. And our lights just magically turned off for us, which is really, really cool. So we're gonna put it on this one. I don't know that there's anything magical about this one particular light combo, but we do have Safe Select on this and AS3X. We did have a little bit of an issue setting up Safe Select on this plane. So if you watch the video, we'll show you have to go into forward programming to make your switch assignment as opposed to holding sticks down and in like we're so used to. And so that's something new, and you'll wanna watch. The binding procedure, I believe, is a little bit different potentially too, but we didn't figure that out. We just bound the thing. All right, here we go, guys. Okay, that's our maiden voyage in the dark. That is really cool and weird. So hold on, I'm gonna go way up there. That is so cool. You can definitely see the plane.
Yep.
Very easy flying. I am not in safe right now, and it's pretty much self-riding. So here's safe. That guy driving by probably thinks of UFOs in the sky. So we also did the UMX the other day. Not sure what order you guys are gonna get these videos, but we flew that, and just really a fun plane. This is just so simple. The camera crew was trying to fly the UMX, and she had a little bit of trouble. And this plane, I mean, it is just like totally hands off, and it's just kind of chilling. You could put a little trim in there if you want to get it to do some cool things, where it'll just sort of loiter. But just look how cool it is. In fact, I believe there's mixing, so you could set up bursts of energy. Very cool, guys. Flies like a 4-channel, but it's a 3-channel. Just a joy to fly planes like this.
So weird.
Let's go over to the bowl. Okay, guys, this is where it gets cool. Go all the way to the edge here, camera crew. Okay, I want to show you guys what it looks like on the ground as I fly by. It's not quite totally dark yet. Look at that. That is so cool. Coming right at us. You good?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this plane is 2 meters. And it does great. Super controllable for being a 3-channel. Wings bend only a little bit under high G loads. No flaps. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to catch here in a minute. If you're going to catch it, just be careful you don't accidentally give it throttle when you're getting close to your body. I'm going to go down in the bowl, do probably one more big round. Then I can be under throttle and chop it right before we get up to us. You good?
Mm-hmm.
You going to be able to see good there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm way down here now.
Okay.
There's a trick for catching too. And that is just slamming into the ground. So there are skid plates on the bottom of this plane. Throttle cut is on and tested. And the skid plates are pretty thin, so they will get marred up when you do things like that. But what I was gonna try to show you was, I was gonna say, if you come in here, you can actually catch this by the end of the wing, but you just gotta be careful. It's kind of hard on the fuse and everything. So we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna show you just a launch down this kind of the pseudo hill here. My throttle cuts off, but I just want you to see, if you're planning on trying to do slope soaring or, you know, like pure gliding. The thing has pretty good glide characteristics. And yes, if you have a couple of these up in the air, how cool would that be? Different colors. I'm gonna try catching it again, except I'm not screwed up this time. See, I told you I wouldn't screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
Super relaxing to fly this thing, guys. Really fun. If you're not into sailplanes, I don't know, you gotta try it once, guys. It's a different experience. It's nothing like flying a P-51 or, you know, like the new Viper or anything like that. It's just a different experience totally. And it's a good experience, folks. And if it takes me 3 times to catch it, I'll be a little embarrassed, but whatever. I love catching planes. Just carrying a little bit too much speed both times. Super easy to land in grass too. You don't have to catch the thing, obviously. So that's one thing too that I noticed about this plane, and I think it might have to do with the way that we have our 2200 3S inside of here. We're gonna change the colors this time. If you don't mind holding that for me. We're gonna switch these, and we'll give you guys a daytime flight. I don't know if you guys have already seen it maybe. Let's change the colors, just go through the whole range. And then I wanna change the speed. Kind of wish I could just stop it, because then it'd be really easy to see the position of the plane. Let's do really slow. I like that color. I want to try the yellow, and we'll see how that goes. And then of course you can turn that off too. You can have no lights. They say that channel 5 controls the lights, but we haven't found that to be true, so we're not sure if maybe we're missing something, and that could totally be. So as soon as we figure it out, we're gonna give you guys an updated report, and you'll notice that I really beat that crap out of that plastic thing there. So that's probably not so great, but honestly, it's not a big deal either. So here we go. So on 3S, we have a telemetry warning. Oh, that looks so cool. A lot easier to see what's going on when it's simple like that and less schizophrenic flashing. Whoa, did you see that
Is that a shooting star?
I think so.
Shoot, I think it was out of camera because I saw it over.
Man, I thought it was a lightning bug.
I think
but it was
a shooting
bright.
star.
It was bright yellow. I saw it totally too, camera crew. You did not. You're not making it up. I saw it too. Man, that would have been sweet if we got a shooting star on our video.
I don't know if I did. I thought this was going to be harder to see, but it's not actually.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy to see too. I'm just having a hard time gauging the speed for catch, and that's okay. So our timer we set is a 1 out, which is probably not necessary. If you have good telemetry data, then you can just keep flying the thing and wait for your warning. There we go. Throttle cuts on. So, as you can see, it wasn't hard to catch. I was just doing it wrong. So now we're going to scroll over. This is probably going to be tough to film, I realize. How about that?
Okay, I got that.
Okay. There you go.
Wow.
Pretty sweet. We got a long ways to go. That is so nice.
Cool.
Where was this telemetry years ago? This is like my favorite telemetry piece. It seems silly because there's so many other good things in there, but I really just care about the pack voltage most of the time. So if you get down to it, that's what we need to know, and that's what you don't know when you're in the air. Okay, so let's get into, they're safe. Very locked in, but just keep in mind, even with safe, you're gonna have a second to respond because it's a 3-channel, okay? 3-channel planes have to induce that roll. It takes a second. We'll go in between us here. You good? There is kind of a moment where you kind of, the plane sort of disappears. I'll try to find it for you there, like that. And even there, you've still got a pretty good idea of what you're looking at. Coming right at us. Good lighting though.
Yeah.
Very, very happy with the lighting.
Very cool.
You can definitely fly it in the dark. How about the sunset? How's it doing there?
Yeah, it's cool.
It always looks brighter on camera than it is in real life.
This is very dark.
Yeah.
It's actually a little clearer over there. It gets just grainy because it's
it's trying to correct.
But
yeah. Well, let's bring it down here.
You can definitely see it.
I think it's cool. I don't think it's going to show as good on a YouTube video though, unfortunately, just because when you're doing night flights and these relaxing ones, I think that people sometimes think it's maybe a little bit lame, but the reality is it's super fun and it's relaxing. And like here in central Iowa, I can't speak for other parts of the country, but most evenings we get a calm down in the evening. And so it's a perfect time to be able to fly. If it's been windy and crazy all day and the atmosphere's been really upset, then it's a perfect time. And it just gives you that opportunity to get out and enjoy what you want to enjoy, and all the stresses of life can melt away. And with that telemetry, you just got no worries. You just land when you get your warning. And it's an easy flying plane, folks, real easy flying. I'm not gonna try to make the camera crew fly. I know some of you guys are thinking this would be a perfect opportunity, but I already tried that yesterday. It didn't work out so good. She didn't really even crash it. Oh wait, you did kinda,
I did.
technically.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but it was like just kind of a bad launch, really.
Windy too.
Yeah, it was windy.
I feel like what you're gonna miss on this video is, if it looks like what I'm seeing on the screen versus what I can see from the plane, the clarity and the patterning to the lights is so like crisp and cool to watch, and I just don't know if that's gonna show up very good on the screen. And like the color change and stuff.
Yeah, it's really neat.
It's very cool to see in person.
Hey, I want you to trade me spots, please. The one thing I can definitely say is that I think I'm having a hard time telling if it's pitchy or not, just because I can't see that minute difference like you would during daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, being that it's a 3-channel, the pitchiness is a little bit harder to counteract. I mean, if you get it to kind of do what you want, you know, like executing maneuvers, I feel like it's good. But then you get into, you know, those strange sort of like bumbly areas, if you will. Does that make sense? Where you're kind of like starting into a roll, you've just given some rudder input. And once you get locked into an angle, then it looks super, you know, super solid. Looks so cool. I kind of want to see if I can light up those trees. Problem is, if I get too close to the trees, I might end up in them. That is so neat. So this video is probably going to be a little bit slow. And so Megan and I appreciate you sticking around and watching. If you wanted to see the daylight video footage, we are going to obviously do that as well. But the big thing is, we know that a lot of you are going to want to see this, and so we are doing it. We've tried night videos before, like with the 3D flying planes. We had the ultimate, oh wait, rather the Night Timber X. Yep, that's right. And it is really kind of challenging to get good night footage, because you have to have one heck of a camera to get really solid night footage. And so I'm kind of hoping this turns out halfway decent and it's not really, really, really lame. But if it is, please forgive us. We're trying our best.
Definitely getting more challenging.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You can fly this thing super slow if you want. I would definitely like to have a little more rudder authority though. That's one thing I'm noticing about this plane, because I like to be able to basically induce a high-speed stall on my gliders and really get them to do what I want. Like right there, you kind of get into this moment where I'm running out of rudder. It's maybe not the most comforting feeling. See, like I wanted to do a stall turn there and I didn't have enough rudder left. Thing that's kind of cool though is you can't see the prop.
Mm-mm.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and try to probably catch it here.
Okay.
If I can get it, if I'm lucky enough. Yeah, a little bit too fast still. The AS3X really does feel solid on this plane too, by the way, guys. Very, very easy to see. Not having a lot of blind spots. My tendency when it gets dark is to fly a little bit more fast to keep away from stalls, by the way. I hope my mic is still picking up. Camera crew, can you tell?
I can see you.
Okay, good. There we go. So, can you see me now?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in closing, you know, this is just such a different experience from a lot of the other things that we do. Would you mind holding that? I'm gonna switch the colors again, just so you guys can kind of see the different colors that are available. And I'll kind of point them at me. There's blue and white. There's red and white. There's green and white. There's white. There's blue. There's purple. There's yellow. There's blue. There's red. There's green. There's yellow. Ooh, that's like all of them.
Oh.
Well, that's pretty cool. We might have to try that. Let's try that.
Wait,
And-
it went off of that one now.
Huh? It did?
Now it's like, oh.
No, it's just
oh, it
scrolling.
is just slowly. Can you go through them faster?
Yes. There's speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up, speed
Yeah.
up,
Now we can see them all.
speed up.
That's cool.
It's more distracting when you're flying that way.
Mm.
Can I have that canopy back? So you guys can see it's a lot brighter on the bottom. But these LEDs are really, really bright. I was surprised. The canopy is nice, but you can actually put it on backward, by the way. All right, let's try this again. I want to see what it looks like now. Lots of battery life, guys.
That's cool.
That is super neat. I feel like you can really see the shape of the plane better
Yeah.
on this setting. Now you guys might have noticed a principal difference in name on this plane. Well, there is a little bit of a difference in name because the connections have changed. That is cool. I like that color scheme a lot.
Yeah.
It's not as distracting because there's no gap in lights.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the blind spot is a little bit better with that. Man, it's so intense on the bottom.
The kids are gonna like it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to show them for sure.
Yeah.
One of the few sacrifices that we have here doing this channel is that when we fly planes, we're flying planes for you first. That is so cool. And that's something you probably don't think about, but the kids, we have 4 kids, and they do like to see the planes. But you guys always get first crack at them. Man, it feels so video game-ish.
Yeah.
So we're at 11.2 volts still.
Wow.
That is
That's
crazy. What is this 8-minute timer they're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose 8 minutes of throttle would be fine, probably. I need to rub your back here because I got a bug on my arm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
You know she loves you if she lets you rub bugs on her.
And I know you love me because you took care of the giant spider yesterday.
By took care of, you mean I cooked it?
Yeah.
Watch yourself, just in case. That was a nasty stall point. Yeah, there was a rather large spider on our back porch yesterday. It was kind of huge. I thought maybe it was Pregnito. We don't like spiders too much around here. We should, because they eat our mosquitoes, but you know what? There's only one predator that's allowed to live. Or excuse me, there's only one predator that's not allowed to live where we live. That is really cool.
That was very cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna try catching it again.
Okay.
I've had pretty good luck. Ooh! Yeah. Didn't break yet. Here, let's show the people. That's actually 3 kind of rough landings. I'm surprised how well it's done. I thought maybe it would really slam down and damage it, but it didn't. That was pretty good. So I can't end on a crash, you know that.
I know.
Okay. Trying to be wise and go to the edge of the driveway, because then I can let it bleed off some more speed before I catch it, you know?
Yeah.
This thing definitely has a stall point. I could have got it, but I didn't. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's 3 lights on the top of each wing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how well that'll show up, but I see that.
Ah, a little bit too fast. Any of you non-human flyers that have better depth perception in the dark will probably be able to beat my performance tonight from catching. That is really cool. Look at the grass.
Yeah.
Glowing. That is so
really
incredible.
bright.
Got it. Not sure if you guys can tell, and obviously I wasn't super successful with my catching today, but what I do is I try to fly it at myself, and ideally I bring it down low to the ground and then I stall into it. The problem with that approach is that if you miss, it falls pretty violently, almost sailplanes. But if you can bring it in and have it over the grass, it gives you a little bit better chance of success or not extreme failure if you miss. So really happy with this plane. It's super cool. It's got a lot of fun features. It seems pretty solid, which is nice. And the lighting probably helps now, I would imagine.
Yes. Just hold still.
You want me to?
Light yourself.
Well, that's what I was gonna do, but I wanted to show this plane so that they could get another couple shots from the top.
Actually, I can see you pretty good there if you stand there and talk.
Like this.
Yeah.
And then from the bottom, now you're gonna get blinded probably.
I know, yeah.
Does it blind you?
Yeah, it's pretty bright.
But then note this, guys, there's 3 different lights up here. So those are different lights. And then down here you have a top facing light, and then the rest is under facings, but there's also lights in the fuse. So it's really cool. There's kind of a void here, which is unfortunate because it'd be nice to have a light there. It'd really help with depth perception. Also, the other thing is I just ate a bug.
Oh,
so you need to keep in mind that these lights are not without some level of consequence, and that is that the bugs like them a lot. So without further ado, we're still at 11.1 volts, and I think we've showed what it can do in the dark. but we'll show you what it looks like in the sun. And if you haven't seen it, stay tuned. Guys, buy this thing from the link below. You'll help support our channel. If you don't want to buy this, buy something else. We got lots of stuff down there. And if you can't find something on the list, just go to the link, the Horizon Hobby link or whatever, the Tower Hobby if you're out of the country and they don't ship normally, then you can go to Tower Hobbies and get that shipped to you as well. You'll be supporting our channel financially with small commissions, but you pay no extra for the product. You can use your coupon codes and your RC bonuses and bucks and things like that. And there'll be no consequence there for you on that or for us. So when you buy from the links, you help support the channel. Also, we have Patreon, PayPal if you don't like monthly support. And then if you don't want to support us in that way, we would really appreciate it if you like the video, subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you get notified when we put out new content, which there's been tons of it lately. In fact, it's been kind of crazy busy. So
And more to come.
We've got more, lots more to come. In fact, we got something new and exciting tomorrow. So hopefully you'll see it. And thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more. All right, YouTube. So not sure if you saw the night flight yet or if you're seeing the day flight first, but either way, we wanted to make sure to mention this to you. On ours, we had these invasion stripes or whatever you want to call them, and they do block your lights a little bit. We noticed that. The kids just thought this thing was the coolest plane ever. And I went up and flew it in pitch dark. We actually discovered there is a ton more lights than what we showed in the Unbox build radio setup portion. So even though this is part of the same video, you guys may not realize the order in which we kind of attack these things. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my knife and I'm just going around where those lights would normally be located and just scoring carefully not to go all the way through. This is plastic, it's thick. But the thing is, this is just a decal, okay? So you can cut that and then just peel it up. Super easy. So I just turned on the LEDs to whatever color stays solid. And by the way, there are certain colors that are way easier to see at night. And it was so cool, but we would never be able to pick it up on camera. We were flying out over the vampire killing zone and we were lighting up those trees in the entire bowl. It was so incredible. I thought it was gonna be cool and I kind of thought it was cool, but then I got out there and I thought, man, this is really cool. So if you guys get an opportunity to get one of these things, it is definitely seems a little bit gimmicky, but then you get up in the air and it is really, really cool. So I gotta say, I mean, if you're picking a sailplane for the performance of the sailplane, I totally get it. If you're like, you know what, that's not my thing. But you almost have to get this thing just to see how awesome it is at night because you just can't film it. It's extremely hard to get the exposure to work out at night. And so what we're gonna do is we'll fly today with a little bit less of a rush and you can show the people where the beautiful, beautiful sunset is.
And it's calm. Was it windy last night?
Well, it was a little bit windy even at night. And I mean, it was insane. It was so cool. And by the way, just a regular X-Acto knife. That's all we did. And I'm noticing that I might have possibly cut just a little bit into the clear plastic. So I'm just gonna take, it's not clear, it's white. I'm just gonna cover that up again just to be on the safe side so we don't get water penetration. Because that's one thing, if you fly at night, you're gonna find that there's almost always dew on the grass. And then also, real quick status update, if you haven't seen the evening flight, this thing did get beat up really bad on the concrete, so I just kind of knocked the edges off. That's really common on those skid plates. And the skid plate on the tail, kind of the same scenario. So if you're making your considerations to purchase this plane based on the skid plates, you are missing the point. But I do want to point out the fact that they get chewed up. And also this thing, when it comes to a landing, especially in the dark, don't be surprised if you ding up your spinner. I'm very, very happy with the way it's performed. I'm not trying to hide anything. I want to show you guys what happened. I had one where I really hit nasty. Look how beat up that got. So that was regrettable. But to be honest, listen, it's not even out of balance. Not much. Whoops. Oh, you know what? This thing still hasn't initiated. Throttle cuts on. Sorry. So basically, when you get these things set up, you see how the rudder's kicked over a little bit? you do have to be a little bit careful that it initiates, okay? So I'm on my UMX model because somebody was using my transmitter and didn't tell me. So make sure that when you select the right model, it'll dance like it always does, okay? So I just wanted to show you it's balanced. Sounds just as good as it did brand new on day one. So we're gonna take this out. You may be seeing this video at the end, so I apologize, not trying to pull a fast one or anything. We just want you guys to see the full picture. And the other thing is, like, up here, you see those LEDs? Those LEDs are super bright. You know what? We're gonna pause. I'm not gonna show you that process, but I am gonna cut because those LEDs really, really, really do help with orientation. So I'm gonna take a second, get those, and then we'll come right back and do some flying. Oh, by the way, 30-minute flight time, plus or minus a few minutes, is what we were experiencing last night. And I got it really low, like down to like 10.8 volts. So it's probably a little lower than you should go. All right, we'll be back flying next. Stay tuned. We are here with a new box. It's huge. Ugh. We just did its little brother the other day. If you haven't already seen it, it'll be coming soon. This is a 2-meter night Radian. Ugh. And it is super, super cool. I've never had one of these before, but I have flown one before, and it is super neat. This is a skill level 2, which is ironic because the Ultra Micro is also a skill level 2. And of course, you don't have to fly it at night. 2 meters is big though. That's 6 feet. That's a big wingspan. And I'm super excited. I'm kind of a sucker for sailplanes. I haven't done a lot of 3-channel planes, but this one is 3 channels in that you only have the elevator, rudder, and then of course throttle. So we'll see how this goes. It's huge though. 44.7 inches long, 78.7 inches or 2 meters wide. That's pretty awesome. There's another sticker on there too. It says 1,020 grams with battery, without battery. So I guess they must have a new requirement to mark that. They're showing this as a skill level 3 as a plug and fly or plug and play. And I'm not really sure why that would make such a big difference. It's a pretty simple setup. If you get it without AS3X, I suppose it might be a little harder to fly. This should be equipped with AS3X and Safe Select, depending on how you bind the plane. Oh, sweet. Oh man, it's a big box. Okay. You want to show them in there for a second, camera crew? I'm going to get this out of the way because it's gigantic. So this is a re-release, as you may have already known. Obviously there was a Radian before, and this one has the new smart technology in it, which is super nice. So we're going to see what all that gives us by going through this tonight. That was not supposed to be in the package. No, your box does not come with a cat. Unless, of course, you have a cat, and then it will have a cat in it by the time you open it. Okay, so just in unpackaging all this stuff, we're gonna go ahead and see how everything comes out, see if there's any damage, show you the usual suspects. Obviously, you've already seen it fly if you're watching this now. That is a really heavy-duty spar. Feels like it might be fiberglass, but it's black. I don't know, that might be, I don't think it's carbon fiber. I think it might be fiberglass because it's heavier. And we have some tape, 3 screws, and a bind plug. That's weird. Okay, nice. We have a manual that's not folded. I always like it when they're not folded. They used to tape these on the bottom of the boxes, and I kind of liked it that way because then they always stayed flat. But as long as they're flat, I don't care. Verizon has some of the best manuals in the industry, in my experience. If you're English speaking as your native language, you will prefer being able to read English, and we've had really good luck with their manuals. They also have a nice shortcut here where you can go and get new information. So we've always been really happy with the manuals though. Okay, ours is the bind and fly, not a plug and fly. They show your rates and stuff like that, where the amount of throw there. 8-minute flight time, 80 millimeters plus or minus 5, so 75 to 85 millimeters from the leading edge. And then of course your radio setup, it talks about the installation here. And then of course there's different settings for the bind plug to plug into, and that's going to allow you to control the lights. But it looks like channel 5 also controls the lights. So we're going to see how that works. I don't know if you have to do this. Show them that real quick. I'm just going to be cutting this foam, the tape, so I can open the foam out. Do you see? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just untaping the prop. The prop is taped to the fuse with masking tape to keep it from getting slapped around in shipping, which is good. That was a good call, Horizon. Thank you for doing that. Then there's a zip tie here. That's not customary. Typically, we don't see zip ties like that in packaging, but that's holding the plane, the fuse in place. And then I assume that that goes all the way through. Yep, it sure does. And of course, there's some cardboard and other packaging material there. All right, then it's taped in the back. We've always been really happy with the packaging from Horizon. We've almost never had problems. We have had a couple of times, but it's really, really rare. And we've had a lot of planes. Okay, so this pinch hinge is reinforced with tape, top and bottom. Looks like this is one of the light strips. And this is the plug that's gonna go to the lights. They have a ferrite core. So if you decide you wanna take the ferrite cores out, you have to use an X-Acto knife to lift up, or a real small screwdriver to lift that, and then pull these one pin at a time. You can unwind it and take that thing off if you want it gone. They probably do it for some stupid FCC rule, and I have no idea what exactly the generic rule of thumb is. Yeah, those lights go all the way to the end, but it looks nice when you're not actually using them.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. And then it looks like only one plug. There's no servo.
Oh,
so it's just the lights. Okay, so we've got those racing stripes on there, or the invasion stripes rather. 2 big wings. They feel pretty stiff. I mean, they're gonna be a little bit of give there, but I think that's pretty good. This feels like EPO foam, so I like that. The UMX is made of EPP, I think. So it's a lot less resistant to damage. This does have a little bit higher density than I recall. But there again, since I haven't personally owned it, I don't know with certainty if it's different. Feels pretty good. There's a lot going on in that canopy. Goodness gracious. So as you can see, really nice decals. Nice finished look. I definitely like that. I like that they have a brace here. That will keep everything from slapping around. And then this plane, it has a really nice canopy. Oh, it's taped down as well. Guess we can peel that off real quick. Folding prop, obviously. It looks like good vent holes here. That's a different design folding prop than I've seen before. 9.75 by 7.5. Wonder if they're switching designs. Wonder if this would be... I like that it's got a vent hole through it, which is nice. Wonder if this would work on the Crescendo Evo. And then how do you pull this off? Oh, magnets. That's nice. Strong magnets. AR631 installed there. Looks really clean. They've got the antenna here. Don't like the way that's folded. I'd like to see that not have a fold in that position. But it does have what looks like an IC3, but no smart lead there. So that's kind of strange. I wonder what to make of that. Oh, that's so weird. You don't want to chop your fingers off, guys, but... I don't know, if you pull this just at the right angle and you use scissors, then it'll come right off of there. Whoops. Well, I guess that compliance sticker's gone. I'm pretty sure we're allowed to take them off ourselves, but they have to put them on as a manufacturer. Look, ferrite cores on every one of those wires. That is goofy. Goofy as all get out. Okay, and then here we go with our switch. It looks like a 3-position switch, or no, it's just an on and off now. Okay, so that's probably good. And I'm trying to figure out, yeah, that comes from the balance lead. So that means you're gonna have to use an external battery if you are using a Gen 2 pack. So maybe you use a Gen 1 pack on this. This is of course the bind plug. So we'll probably leave that label on there. But why would you need a bind plug like that? That seems pretty goofy to me. Because isn't this thing right here? Why would you not just plug in the bind plug? I think I'm just gonna pull that out for smart's sake. I wonder if it was installed upside down before. I bet they had it installed down here before. Yeah, I bet they did. Because look at that, they've got all those plugs going somewhere. What is there, a flight controller in there? What is the deal? And look, this is accessible. That's sweet.
Oh, nice.
What the heck is that? It's like a breakout board. Don't like that wire. That scares me a lot. See how close it is to the control arm? Those are some big, big servo arms. Okay, so I like that. I like that it goes back. So when we land, it's gonna drag along the ground. Okay, so without further ado, I think we're gonna clean up real quick, get the components laid out, and come right back. All right, so we gotta get the tail section on first. So the way this goes is we have to slide this through, but in order to do that, we have a plug over here. So you kind of gotta be careful about which direction you go with it. So it slides through like that. Why does it sound like, oh yeah, I did hit something. Okay, so you slide it through, but then how do you attach it?
Tape.
What? Tape?
4 pieces of tape.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you.
How do you tell if it's centered? That's crazy. I don't like that at all. That's pretty hard to tell what direction that goes.
Yeah, it says it, I think it's orange is forward, but it says it in the manual.
I can't see what I'm supposed to look at.
Orange signal wire is furthest forward.
Furthest forward?
Yes.
Orange is furthest forward. Okay. Well, I guess orange is furthest forward. So then you have to tape it on. Okay, that's goofy. We haven't had tape on stuff forever. I wonder if it'd be easier to plug it in first. That does not feel right. Who says orange is forward?
It's right here.
The orange signal wire is furthest forward. Yeah, but look, I can't. Watch this. I just want to show the people what I'm talking about. This has a case on it, and the case is keyed. So it only goes one way. Do you see that? So if the case is keyed, and that's the way it goes, then how am I supposed to know if that's right? Orange is going back on mine. Okay, so, yep.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna have to go with it's wrong in the manual or it's wrong in the plane. Which one is wrong? We'll find out pretty quick here. In fact, I'm gonna, before I burn anything out, I wanna plug this in and find out, because it might be easier to do this now and find out it's right or wrong than to come back to it later. I'm gonna use a 1300 milliamp 3S. This is just a test. And I can plug that into the balance lead. This is gonna get us our power. This is keyed, so it's pretty obvious which way it goes. And then there is a power switch that turns on and off. Okay, so as you can see, are there lights on?
Yes.
Okay, so if there's lights on, then we're good. Okay, so that's pretty sweet. All right, the lights are off. I'm just gonna put this away. The only reason we do that is just so we can show that we have the wiring correct. And the reason I'm in a hurry tonight is because I want to get this done so we can see it in the sun and in the dark. Because this thing is really cool in the dark. We had some visitors that came over, and the reason I know about this is because they had one of these Radians. Also, I don't see a marking for the center. Do you? We can measure it, possibly. But nice to have a mark just to verify you're centered. I guess we're gonna measure that with a measuring tape. What if we use a caliper? That would probably work well.
Okay.
So that's not quite long enough. So here's a trick that sometimes works for me when I'm measuring unusual measurements. I don't really care how long this is. I just need to know if it's even. So I'm gonna take that, then I can flip the plane around, and then I can measure from that same point. You see, it's further on that side than it is here. So I'm gonna slide this back, and now I'm using my fingernail as my gauge, okay? I can use this the same way, and I've got that bumped into the frame, and then I'm just gonna use my fingernail as a gauge. And then I can tell when they're even, then it's centered, okay? So it needs to come back just a hair. So that's as centered as it needs to be. That'll be fine for what we're doing. And then they provide some tape. I thought we were past the days of taping wings on.
Yeah.
How many is this supposed to take?
4.
So there's 4, so I guess I'm gonna try to put them on top. Now you can use your own tape. You don't have to use the provided stuff, but this stuff, in my experience, has always been really strong. I'm just not a big fan of having to tape wings on. There are a lot of planes that require tape, but they're extremely high performance planes and they're sailplanes. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they tape the seams. They have wing nuts on the inside too. I mean, generally speaking. Some of them don't need any tape, but a lot of times they'll tape the seams. I suppose they probably wanted us to tape that top and bottom, right?
It does not say.
Okay, well then there's 4 gonna be on top. I'm sure that's fine. You're not gonna have any lateral load on that unless you crash, and then it gives it a chance to not break. So maybe it's not so bad. All right, what's next? The wings?
Yeah, are you gonna wait to hook up that control horn till we get it bound?
Yes.
Like normal? Okay.
Yes, because I don't know what position it needs to be in yet.
Then yes.
Okay, so we have this wing spar. So I'm just gonna slide that through and make sure you don't cut off your cable. So we're just gonna push that until it stops. And then it does stop. Okay, then I can take this and kind of put this out of the way so it's, there's a wing spar point. Oh boy, where's the cables? How do we plug the cables in, camera crew?
Let's see. Slide the wing tube into the fuse, install the wings, guide the connectors from both wings into the fuse towards the bottom hatch.
Oh, yeah, great. So we have to feed them through here. Okay, yeah, that's...
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Look. I'm gonna feed this through and just make sure I can get in, okay? So I have the forceps and I can see them coming out my side. So show them here. So here it is. So then I can open that clasp and grab, and then I can just pull them back through, okay? That's my goal. But it's gonna be a lot harder to do that once we get everything in the way. So I'm just gonna kind of set this loose. Obviously you have to leave a gap. And then I can reach in. This plane stand is gonna be pretty handy for this setup. And then I'm just looking at where all the control arms are on the servos to try to avoid them. Oh man, that magnet's holding on to my forceps. Okay, there we go. So now I can take this and grab it and pull it through. These forceps are gonna be pretty invaluable right now. Like, I don't know how you would do that without. Okay, so that lines up. It's gonna be a pretty easy assembly. It's just those cables will be a bit of a pain. If you have to take your plane apart, which this thing is pretty big. Oh man. I don't know if there's enough cable in there. Am I missing something?
I don't think so. You can go to any port on the connector
it's
block.
just a breakout board.
Yep.
Okay, so the breakout board, sorry guys, trying to get to a spot where I can share this with you. You see what I'm dealing with? There's your lead, okay? Oh, it's caught, it's trapped. It was trapped on the foam, so we should be okay then. And then you want it in the same orientation as the other pins, okay? So this can go to whichever one we want. Doesn't really matter which one. And remember, that's not like a receiver. It just kind of puts them all in parallel. Okay. All right, so we'll slide this in. And then we'll have to put a screw in from the bottom. It looks like you put them in from the top, but you actually put them in from the bottom. Because you can see the brass bushing, or not the bushing, but the nut zerd or whatever you want to call it. Ooh, that's slipped out the other side. I think it might make better sense for us to attach that first side. How about we do that?
Okay. Because
it's wanting to push the other side out. So that was probably a miss on my part. I should have just put the screw in there first. Okay, so these are Phillips screws. They're very long, and they go in with no trouble. That was super easy. I wish there would have been screws in the back too. That would have made me feel a whole lot more comfortable with the long-term solution. Because it's not like you're really gonna not have to take these wings off in many applications. I mean, we won't, but a lot of people will. Can you hold that please so I can push? Hold hard so I can push hard. Oh man. See what I'm fighting? I just don't have enough hands for this, so thank goodness I got help. Because I don't want to damage anything. Okay. So I've got the wire through, now I can let go. Now it's easy. Just tricky the first couple of times, I'm guessing. You see? Show the people it's not quite lined up, so you really got to get that pushed in hard. Once it's pushed in, it should be fine. And then as you guys know from previous experience, I'm sure by now the foam will kind of work its way in and then you'll be fine after a few times. I'm gonna probably need you to help me drop that in though. If you can just feed it in, please, through that hole. Is it going in?
Yep.
Get in, there you go, that's good. Now I can tighten it, it'll key in. It's not straight right now, but we have to get that wire landed as soon as we get this done.
Yep.
All right, so that assembly was kind of awkward, but it's not really hard. You could definitely do that at the field, but it would be a pain. I'm just gonna go under that other wire there for cable management reasons. All right, so that goes down and then this closes, and I would not spend a ton of time on cable management unless it's interfering with your servo horns. That would cause a problem. So you definitely want to address that if you have servo horn issues. So what was the 75 to, it was 75 to 80, right?
85.
Okay, so I'm just gonna measure to this plastic thing. Oh, that's way far. So 75. So here's 75. Okay, and then 75, the same. Okay, and then I'll go to 85. So it's plus or minus 5 from 80 is why we arrive at 75 and 85, just in case you guys were wondering. And I can tell you this plane is probably going to be super forgiving on exactly how it balances out. But we always like to share that because especially when you get into the bigger planes, the UMXs, you can hardly put them in wrong because there's just not enough real estate for it to matter. And that's not to say that the center of gravity does still matter on them, but it's like there's only so much room you've got. And then I do these so that I can feel them. And I can pretty much balance them. The only problem is I marked the top of the wing and I'm not gonna have this upside down. I should have done it on the bottom. That was a screw up, guys. I should have totally marked the bottom. Because right now, when I go to center of gravity test, I'm not gonna know. You know what?
You're like right on that line.
Man, okay, well, you can learn from my mistake. By the way, if you wanna cover that up and you've made a mistake like this, which is embarrassing, there's an easy way to do that, and that is that paper. They used to use it as like a correction paper. If you're in an office environment, you probably got some of it sitting around. And that stuff works really nice to cover up that sort of thing. Or you can like literally take a piece of paper and cut it and then cover it up that way. Okay, so let's just see where we are here. So if you look at this, look at that, 72. So right there on the wing spar, how about we just mark it at 75? We'll just do the same thing we did on the front, or on the top, I mean, rather. Yep, I'm just making marks like I should have done. I should have done it on the back, but I goofed up. If you guys are following along, hopefully you had the presence of mind to watch me make the mistake before you copied. Okay, so, all right, cool. So now I can just basically remark those as well on the bottom. So you'll definitely know where your center of gravity is. Maybe that'll be helpful for me when I'm trying to figure out where the center of gravity marks are from the top. Kind of doubt it. I'll probably put in the battery and it'll only fit in one spot. So these batteries are Gen 1 smart packs, and I'm doing that intentionally just so we have the cable for the balance lead so that we can go ahead and hook up those lights. Now, you could just use a second battery. It doesn't have to be the same battery. All right, so, and if you're using a second battery, just be a 3S battery. So if you had maybe something like one of these little e-sheen packs or something like that, anything that's 3S, you could use that in addition, but you may not have the ability to get the center of gravity right. So 3S 2200, we're gonna try to slide that in there. Okay, and there's a lot of crap in the way. Like tons of crap in the way, but that's pretty much as far as it'll go. All right, there's a bind plug here, so I'm gonna have to bind it here in a second. So just be mindful that this prop could start. I doubt it will. And let's go ahead and set up our setup. Can you grab this? Let's grab this so we can look at it. Canopy's over here. We'll be kind of cruising through this today. Okay, so here's the setup. It's gonna be super duper easy. So turn on your transmitter. You can see we got the Radian UMX there. Model select. Okay, and then we create an acro. And we just go away in case we have early releases. Sorry about that, folks. Takes a second. Then we can go to aircraft type. And this says basically set it to 1 aileron. Okay, fine. That's the way it is by default. And channel assign gear to switch A. Fine. So gear to switch A. So we'll walk out. That's already default. Throttle cuts the first step. Let's turn it to switch H like we normally would. Let's verify it's working. It is. With it off, it's working. All right, so we're done with that. Then timer, is it 8 minutes? Yeah, but is it 8 minutes? They don't say. All right, we'll just set it to 8 minutes and just kind of listen to the telemetry if there is one. So we'll set the timer to 8 minutes, but it's probably 8 minutes with throttle, but I'll activate it. And we'll shut that off, we'll shut that off, shut that off, and then we'll do a verbal countdown. And then for the expiration, we'll do tone and vibrate. Okay, don't know what type of audio events we're gonna have to work with. And under system setup, we'll disconnect, we'll go to model name. I forgot to name the thing. So you just scroll over. I use the legacy keyboard because that's the way I like it. This is a Night Radian 2.0. So highlight and scroll in and start typing like this. Pretty simple stuff. And we'll pause and come back when we're done typing. All right, so it's the Night Radian 2.0. Make sure you put your size in there. And we'll go back out to the main screen. We're gonna set up some dual rates in Expo. They do talk about dual rates in Expo sometimes in these manuals. Looks like they have high rate at 10% and then low rate at 5%. That's kind of strange. Oh, that's the Expo. Okay, good. So at 70% rates, then they'd put it at 5. I'm gonna show you the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it on to switch F. Okay, so on switch F, it's gonna be 5, then it's gonna be 10, then it's gonna be 20. This is just my standard stuff. I'm probably never gonna come out of the basic rate. Now remember, this is just a 3-channel plane, but I'm gonna set them all anyway, just in case I ever add a rudder, or excuse me, add ailerons. It'll be easy to be set up. and rudder. And plus I'm gonna do a mix so that I can have the rudder controls on this stick as well. Okay, so we got that set, then mixing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to do it this way or not, but I'll just set it to, I want rudder to ailerons because that's the way they set it up, and then probably like 50%. Whoa, geez, did you see how fast it jumped? That was weird. I don't know what I did different to cause that to go. So we're gonna set that to 50, and we're just gonna turn it to on. You can make it so it's tied to another switch, but I'm not concerned with that. Then safe select, I'm gonna put on switch A, but then I'll probably try to tie the knob to the light condition. That got bumped, or while I was setting it, I need to put it in the middle setting. So more expo if it's too touchy, less if it's not enough. Okay, so throttle cuts on, everything's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this back to the off condition. Then we're gonna bind. So binding is super easy. The battery is in where it is. I don't really understand exactly if I have to go any further, so I'm just gonna try this for now, then we can pick it up. So we've got it powered on. It's kind of in a mostly level condition, but I wanna turn this sideways so I can get it actually level the way I want it to fly. Then I'm gonna press this button. It's gonna start flashing, and then I'm gonna hold it. Then I'm gonna press this button, and then I'm gonna press the power button. Now somebody told me I can let go at that point. See, the bind failed, but that's okay, don't worry. Now I'm still holding inside here, and then I go down to bind. Okay, so now I can let go of the button. Everything should be fine with the world. I hear dancing, all sorts of things happening inside. 2 dances, which is good. So let's see what happens. Are we in, okay, the elevator is not connected yet. The rudder is connected. We are probably in safe because that's not very much play. Okay, so we'll play with that in a second. So now let's go ahead and get this hooked up right now. In fact, it's dark out, so we might as well go ahead and plug in the lights for extra excitement, and then we can tell what's happening with our conditional changes of switches. So we'll turn that on. That is so cool. Not distracting at all to the camera crew and or cats. So we're gonna just stuff all these wires in here. The wires are gonna be fun on this plane to deal with. Oh, but that's not too bad because you can go all the way to the edge now. Okay, so we need to test the throttle cut. So let's just lay this down. You hear it? It's trying to do safe.
Yep.
Okay? So I need to get out of safe. Still safe is on. Safe is still on. Safe is still on. Okay? So when safe is on, you have to be a little bit careful because you don't want to set your elevator control horn when you're in safe. So let's do a safe assignment. Throttle cuts on. I want to set it to switch A. Sticks down. 1, 2, dang it. Try again, sticks down. 1, 2. Actually, I want auxiliary 2 to do that. So let's jump over here and let's set auxiliary 1. So sticks down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Nothing's happening. This reminds me of the night Radian, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nothing. Okay, I don't see any change of state. So not sure what I'm doing wrong or right there. I just know that I saw 2 dances, which means safe is on, and I just don't know which channel it's on. So I'm looking through my channels. That's gear, it's moving up and down. I'm gonna turn the plane upside down. I can tell it's definitely got safe on. Toggling the condition, auxiliary 1, toggling the condition. Auxiliary 3, I don't see any change in state. That's auxiliary 2, don't see any change in state. That's pretty strange. Maybe we hold the sticks in a different configuration for this one.
With the UMX, after you gave it throttle to check for AS3X.
Okay, fine, let's try it. Good idea. Whoa, that's a little more power. Throttle cuts on. That is a 3S. Okay, elevator, rudder, everything is moving, but I don't know if safe is off. I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay. Safe is not off. It is in fact not off. No change, no change, no change. This would go straight if you came out of safe. No change, no change. Okay, so let's talk about safe select. Here's the safe select binding procedure. I know I'm in safe. We must be about halfway, so it's trying to find the quickest route to level. Okay, so then safe select, how do we do our assignments? There it is, mode 2, mode 1 and 2. Okay, sticks, well, we're upside down. I don't think it's supposed to be upside down to do this. Okay, so let's lay that back down so the prop won't hit if we would accidentally bump the throttle. It says we have to use auxiliary 3 maybe? No, you can use 5 through 9. The example, auxiliary 3. So auxiliary 3 is this thing by default. Let's try that. Okay, so this is aux 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so nothing. Throttle cuts on. We're gonna rebind. We're not gonna rebind. We're just gonna power down and restart and see if we get lucky. Also, there is a way to control lights. Was that on the gear switch? Mm-hmm. Because I don't see any change in state there either. So let's go ahead and power this down and power it back up. So power down, powered back, watch. That's 2. That means safe is on. And plus it's auto-correcting, so we know that safe is on. Now we just need to figure out how we can actually change the state. So the rudder's working on both of my sticks. That's what I want. Okay, so left, right, elevator's moving. No change in state, okay? No change in state, no change in state. All right, so we're gonna try doing this. 6 down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Nope, it's not doing it. So I'm not sure what I'm missing here. I hear occasionally people having trouble with this. So we'll pause for a second and come right back. I wouldn't ordinarily do this with safe on, but I'm gonna do it today. So I'm gonna slide this little collar back, and then I'm gonna open up this clevis, and it goes to the outside hole, which will impact change here. Now, I'm not gonna mechanically trim that. I'm just gonna leave it in the neutral position, whatever it is right now, okay? So now when I'm in safe, it should be correcting. So let's go ahead and check. It is definitely trying to level it. It is definitely trying to level it, okay? So the easiest way to tell, just like with a regular aileron equipped plane, would be to find the middle and then see it's gonna try to find your quickest route to home, or to level in this case. So AS3X is not active yet. Throttle cuts off. Over 25% throttle. Now AS3X is working. It's trying to correct and keep it going straight. But I don't see what I'm doing wrong to get safe to work. So now I want to try safe again. No change. So down and in for both of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No change, no change. Okay, so then what else can we try? We've already marked that. We've already got the dual rates. I'm going to put my dual rates to the lowest setting just to see if that's impacting us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very strange. We've never had this level of problem. So where's the lights? Let's figure out the lights then. Maybe we can come back to that.
Back a couple of pages right there.
Okay, so button 1 moves the, okay, so this is where you can, this thing has buttons on it. Ah, see?
Okay.
Okay, so you can change the buttons, or you can change the configuration. That changes the frequency from slow to fast to faster to fastest. That's the middle one. Then this one changes the color. So if you have multiple people, then you can do, or you can do rainbow. Kind of like the idea of white. You can change, oh, and it also goes from this side to this side or that side to that side. So you just keep toggling through. Well, that's pretty cool. I like the two colors a lot.
Yeah, the two colors is cool. I kind of like the blue and white or the bluey purple, whatever that is.
How about we do red and white? Because if we do blue and white, I fear that it's going to be hard to see. Then the other thing is if I turn that off, there's no change in state. If you turn it on, I'm still not experiencing a change in state. So it said that it's controllable, right? Button 1 moves backward. Button 2, okay, so it turns the lights on and off. That's, see how it says 5 lights? Incorrect installation could cause a crash, of course. See, if you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's gear. So I'm not sure if we have to actually hook something up to get that to work, but I still see something is plugged in somewhere. Nothing is actually plugged in on that plug right now. See, there's nothing plugged in on pin 5 or on port 5. So I'm not sure what the deal is, or if we have to intercept this signal somehow in order to make it work. So that's kind of strange. A little bit disappointed. And I can't figure out why safe isn't going. That's the other thing. So we're going to pause and look at that for a minute. Okay, so we're going to try another way. Click into the function list, scroll down to forward programming. You do have to have your model on. Go to gyro settings. Go to safe select. You're going to note immediately that it says flight mode 1. See how it's not changing no matter what I do with any of the switches? So you can turn this off and now it's off. Or you can turn it on. But you see how it says flight mode 1? So I don't know, maybe I'm just going to try this here. We have to make an assignment, and this is something the manual doesn't seem to mention. So let's go down to system setup, disconnect, and let's go to F mode setup. This is super easy to set up. Let's just say switch 1 is switch A. Okay, now let's walk out. Now watch this. Safe. Still safe. Now watch this. It's going between flight mode 1 and flight mode 2. So now I'm going to go to forward programming and see if we can attach that. Safe select. See how it says flight mode? Oh, there you go. All you have to do is just tell it there. Well, that's totally not what the manual said. But there again, they also have this little doohickey here that I didn't scan. So maybe they have an update. Kind of strange to me. So now safe is on, safe is off, safe is on, safe is off, safe is on, safe is off. It's really obvious to tell because when you're upside down, it's trying to find the quickest route. Now safe is off. Now let's look at the elevator and get the elevator set so that we can take this carnival creation out and see how cool it looks out in the nighttime sky, since it's the nighttime sky now. So let's look at this. Elevator actually looks pretty dang close already. I would say that's like good. That's good. We don't even have to adjust it. So out of safe, that's a pretty good amount of throw, pretty good amount of throw, pretty good amount of throw. Not very much throw. I'd actually like to see a lot more, but that's fine. It's okay. So now let's talk about this for a minute. I'm going to go back down to system setup, disconnect RF. Watch this. I'm turning that off. Now, still working. So you can just set it in there by setting the switch condition. Now let's see which one's safe. I want to see which way it's going. Okay, so the way I tell is flip the plane over. Safe is on, safe is off. I want to rotate the direction of that switch. So let's show the people. I want safe to be on back here and safe off there. So we'll go to servo setup, we'll go to travel, highlight it, scroll over to reverse, and then we'll go down to gear and flip it. Okay, so now safe should be on and safe should be off. Okay, throttle cuts on, throttle cuts off, testing throttle. Okay, throttle cuts on. Everything's tested. This plane is ready to fly, but we still don't know how to change the light conditions. So I'm looking at this for a second. Oh, there's telemetry on this too. So let's see what it is. Okay, so we have receiver voltage. And we have ESC feedback, which is pretty sweet. And then look at that. Nice, 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 nice. So we can see exactly what our voltage is. And now we can go ahead and set a telemetry. That is so cool. Okay, so let's go to audio events, telemetry warnings. And I think we're gonna open one of these up and just do volts. I'm gonna set this to 3S and it'll auto-populate. I don't care about max. I do care about min. I want that to be a voice, and I want the alarm to be at 3.3 volts. Well, let's do 3.3 minus 1, so 9.6. 9.6, because 9.9 would be 3.3. That'll be 3.2, so that's good, because this is just a sailplane, so it's not gonna be a big deal. And then status reports, no, but yes. And I wanna be warned and updated every 30 seconds, okay? So when we drop down to a certain level, it's gonna start talking to us, okay? Now, the lights, we'll try to figure it out, and then we'll show after the fact, but as you can see, we have a beautiful sunset. If you wanna look back here and show the people, we're gonna go out there and fly that right now. You'll see that from the beginning, and hopefully we'll give you a day flight as well. So stay tuned, guys. If you wanna buy this thing and help support the channel, we have links in the video description below. It is really cool. I haven't seen it fly yet of my own for it. Oh, we need to check the CG. We never did check the CG.
Yeah.
So let's do that too. The throttle cut is on and tested, by the way. Okay, that's with the battery in and pushed all the way back. And that's a 2200 3S. So it looks like we're pretty much on the front holes, we're tail heavy, on the back hole, we're nose heavy. So that's exactly what you wanna see. So at 80 millimeters or where that wing spar is, you're pretty much good. So guys, without further ado, don't forget to give us a like. If you haven't already subscribed, do that. Click the bell for notifications. We got new content all the time. We'd really appreciate it if you're gonna buy this plane, to buy it from our links. That helps support us financially in our endeavors on this channel, and it does keep us funded, so please do that. And then also, we will link to the battery we used, we'll link to the transmitter we used, and we will, of course, link to other things down below if you maybe aren't into this particular plane. And we really appreciate you, world's best audience. We also have a Patreon site. If you would prefer, rather than buy the planes, we think that's the best deal. There's also Patreon and then PayPal if you don't like monthly stuff. So, because Patreon is a monthly thing. So you make a contribution every month. Beyond that, if you guys would just stay tuned, we may be showing a day flight also on this. Not sure what order things are gonna fall. So stay tuned, and there'll be some more coming right now. If not, come back for the next video. It'll be sooner than you think.